That is a wild laugh to open the thing with. Somebody over there cackling.
Hillary's around?
Cackling like a jackass, Charles. Welcome to the park.
It's great to be here, Jason. I think we've been here a few times before.
It's good, I think, to come back every now and then, because what is this?
This is an exhibition by Yale graduate Maya Lin, who is a famous architect. She says that in there, the write-up says that she's an ardent environmentalist. She's won the, where is it? She's won the National Medal of Arts and the Presidential Medal of Freedom under Obama. She has done a lot of very moving work, including, I think she's the one who did the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., which really, if you haven't ever gone to it, I don't know if you have, Jason.
I have.
It is really moving to watch the interaction.
The wall with all the names?
Well, to watch the interaction of the people who lost people,
yeah,
who are going there to just remember them on the wall. And even if you have no personal connection to the war and you're not even American, just to go and watch the interchange happening in life in front of you. It's really very clever, very moving, very touching, frankly. And I think she's a smart lady.
Well, what did it say about this ghost forest? Why do they have a bunch of it?
Well, these trees used to be all over the Northeast, and apparently they've died out because of climate change or maybe industrial activity, and who knows why. And so this is to, in part, get you thinking about the damage man has done to the environment in portions of the country. Now, if you go and you read one of the best books that I've ever read, is called 1491. You may have read it too, I think.
No, I didn't read that.
Well, it's a really interesting book written by more than just an author. It draws in scientific theories about what the North American continent was likely, how it presented itself in 1491, the year before Columbus arrived.
Oh.
And it gets into one of the bases for settling North America was that there weren't any people here, and that therefore there was no civilization. So with the papal bull, the Pope of the time drew a line around the globe and said anything here this group can take, and anything there another group can take.
But they literally said that there's no people here? That's like a Joe Biden
no
argument.
civilization.
Ah.
And so, and that's the way we were, at least I was brainwashed to believe that in the beginning when I was a little kid. And in actual fact, this book 1491 takes you through the fact that the residents, I don't like to call them Indians, but the residents were incredibly advanced managers of forest lands.
Right.
They burned out the underbrush to limit the express.
Had a symbiotic relationship with nature.
Well, and the other thing they did is they engaged in genetic engineering of maize and things like that. I mean,
wow.
It was really, it's quite an interesting book. I hope it's right.
Now, I don't mean to distract you, Charles, but what is this?
Something about dreaming ahead.
Lucid, I think, might be an electric car or something. Well, I don't know what lucid is, but
I know what lucid. I know someone who is not lucid.
Right. Well, that's like when you said that their argument was that there was no people or no civilization. That's like if Joe Biden were here, he'd say, "Come on, man, those trees are alive. That's not a ghost forest."
No, what Joe Biden would say is, "Where's the brownie troop?"
Right.
Where are the Girl Scouts?
You can sniff them.
I have an appointment with them.
What? Didn't you send me an article today that one of the girls in the infamous Joe Biden sniff videos of Yore is now kind of like an adult or a teenager, and she's speaking out?
Yeah, let's do that. And then I hate when the art department does such great work and we never congratulate them initially in the broadcast, which I think we should on this one. But idiots!
That guy was real close to us.
Going the wrong way at high speed and not looking.
It's ridiculous.
So I'll address the thing that I sent you. There's a relative of the senator from Montana whose last name is Daines, and I don't know what his first name is, was at his swearing-in ceremony. No, at the senator's swearing-in ceremony. And this is a story that alleges that Biden was there and that Biden pinched the nipple of
see it on TV.
Of an 8-year-old girl at a swearing-in ceremony of this Montana senator. Now, I am not a violent person, but if I were just sworn in from Montana, and this bonehead criminal reached into my relative's dress or shirt or blouse and did that, I would fucking beat him senseless in front of the
Senate
TV.
floor.
I would.
I know, most people would.
Because-
It'd be an instinct.
Well, it's just that you just don't even conceive of doing something like that. And now we have the cupcake press, the bought and paid for corporate media, is reporting breathlessly that idiot classmate of mine, Sheldon Whitehouse, wants to reopen the Kavanaugh investigation because, in his view, it wasn't thorough enough. So
The defamation of the guy.
right. So they want to get into that. But here's another allegation. This was made a while ago, and now it's being, I guess, reiterated by the young lady who's older.
This is a box store now. This is like a post offices USA. This is a huge, and it's moving. See, because everybody's moving, Charles. This has typically been an extremely premium, like lamps and designer stuff. Like that is expensive real estate right there.
As you like to say, not anymore.
Oh no.
What happened?
I don't know. We're having this weird problem where look at how slow. It's like we're on ether. You see that?
Yeah. Look across the street at all the Thor Equities space for lease signs.
Let's see if it changes the camera angle. Okay, that worked. This was happening yesterday at the park. I think it might be temperature related, and that's troubling. It is hotter than I expected it to be, and I do have this active cooling system going, but I'll tell you, Charles, there's always just so many new technical challenges that come up.
Right.
That woman coughed in our face. Hopefully she's been vaccinated because according to Joe Biden,
Well, now
you
wait a
can't get it.
I mean, let's just stop right here. This is, as you say, this is expensive real estate. So of course you want to leave garbage right there. Look at this garbage. So much garbage that it couldn't possibly fit in the garbage pile. And it's probably 80, garbage can, and it's probably 80.
It's heating up.
80, 85.
Maybe more.
Now, you got this virus, and let's say it's serious, because probably it is. Some say it is.
Delta variant or regular?
I'm trying to be like Trip.
You
Some
want
say
fries
it
with
could be a thing,
Yeah.
And you got this thing, and you got to wear a mask to protect yourself. But you should leave in a city that's infested with rats. In the summer, you should leave garbage on the sidewalk. Festering. On a Sunday. Here's garbage here, and there's garbage there, and there's garbage over there. Just leave it everywhere. Leave it out. Let homeless people sleep near it. Have food everywhere. Have rats everywhere. Have flies everywhere. Don't care about that, but make everybody wear a mask, including people who are vaccinated.
You know, John Cullen spoke about, I forget the doctor's name, but way back in the day, there was a guy who was, treated as like a heretic for saying, he was trying to solve the problem of a lot of women were dying from childbirth. And he somehow figured out that it was that guys were doing autopsies. And then, wow, that's a great idea. Back up. This idiot's here.
More garbage.
Doing autopsies and then going and delivering babies. And this guy's...
And not washing up.
Right. This guy's breakthrough idea was to wash their hands. And they were like, oh, get that guy out of the medical community. That's crazy. It seems to me that someday people might look at this video and be like, oh my God, can you believe they had open garbage on the streets?
Right. And as I'm squeamish and I'm not the best person to think through medical issues. Anyway, I have no training at all. Don't like going to doctors and hospitals. Distrust most cures and certainly any general pronouncement by that
Fauci.
Broken garden gnome.
You a lying Rand Paul.
I'm telling you, Jason, you have got to do some toys with these fake voices. So another garbage pile, right? So if I could just go back then to the art department, there's a company that advertises if it could get space away from MyPillow and Vagisil and all these other ads that are on Fox, it advertises glass, these things that are called fractures. And you can take a picture of something and it comes, you can mount it on the wall and you just put it on the wall. It's called a fracture. And I don't think they're very expensive.
Unless you fracture the femur, then it's...
No, but what I'm saying is the arsenal or the archive of posters that have been put out by the art department now is so extensive and so impressive. I mean, I had a collection of antique maps from the 15th, 16th,
How's the stonk doing?
17th and 18th centuries. I think it was about 150 museum quality framed prints that are the size of a movie poster, but basically landscape, most of them.
Right.
And you put all that on the wall. It's tough to find an apartment big enough to put that on the wall. But you do that, and it's astounding, the reaction you get from visitors. They don't say, "You're a fucking crazy man to have all these maps." They look at it and say, "How long is this? This building must be really old."
Right.
No, the maps are, the building's brand new. But anyway, similarly, if you were if you were to put a whole bunch of these posters together in an exhibition space, this one in particular, it's just, I love the way the art department selects pictures of Clinton in this case, and Biden and Xi that really leap off the page. It's almost as if they come alive. And just to be perfectly clear to people who think that I'm only partisan, I happen to watch this show, American Pickers, from time to time. I find it interesting. Basically, they pick, in my mind, a lot of garbage.
Oh.
But they buy stuff for $100 and sell it for $300, and it just doesn't interest me. But it's interesting the way they go around the country. It's interesting how many people have vast collections. And when I say vast, I mean barns, multiple gigantic barns full of bric-a-brac, out of which these pickers try to find stuff that's saleable and interesting and rare. So the poster only has two people on it, as the show really involves the two people who are out there picking.
Right.
But like any show, there is a menagerie or there's a back office of other people, and I think to follow the way the art department likes to do it, it made sense to just limit it to those two. But if somebody other than the art department had a say, I would.
Added she.
Well, I would say that you have to add. I think the American bootlickers who've been kowtowing to the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Liberation Army centrally involved the Bushes, centrally. HW and W now. And many elements of the Rhino Party, especially including, as Trump referred to him, that beauty, Mitch McConnell, or as I refer to him, Bitch McConnell.
Well, Charles, I think it would actually even have to go beyond the United States, North American bootlickers. We'd have to include Pierre and Justin Trudeau.
Well, not to mention all the European ones. We want to go to the right to get away from this music.
Yeah, I don't know why that. Okay, there we go.
But yeah, Tony Blair.
What is going on here?
This is
not the.
Oh, is that a nude person up there?
I don't know. It's not the. Oh yeah, it's body painting. It's not the farmer's market.
It is a farmer's market. So there's another.
It's some kind of live
There's
music
another
event.
scantily dressed guy. Or are these people who just?
This is some kind of entertainment event. They're body painting people. Wow.
God almighty, the guy's got his dong hanging out. This guy does too.
What is up with that? Right, these are totally naked people just hanging out in public.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Hey, there's Joe Biden's here.
I'll tell you, Charles, Joe Biden should go pinch. Oh no, he's got a sack over his.
No, he doesn't.
So that's good.
But honestly, this guy is just letting it all hang out there. He's got metal at the end of his unit.
My
Ridiculous.
God. Body painting day. And you're right, it's just hanging all out. What is going on right now
I
with
think
society?
we should call this not Sunday with Charles. We should call it the
Sunday
fall,
with
the fall of Rome, the fall of America. We're documenting it.
Just discuss for a moment, if we can, Charles, this. First of all, the COVID town hall that President Stupid, Dumb Joe, had on with, was it Don Lemon on there? Don Lemon's getting fat, it looked like today.
It's pronounced Don Lemon. He's from the
He's
Lemon.
a little bit bloated.
Well, really, It's like I think it was when Muhammad Ali kind of his health fell apart. He got would he get Parkinson's? I think.
Does John Lemon have Parkinson's?
No. I'm just saying Joe Biden is in a place where the people around him certainly don't care about him. This is elder abuse. I mean, what he was saying at that town hall was gibberish. It wasn't even gibberish. And really, what people in these powerful positions need is they need to have somebody who is not gonna boss them, but who honestly tell them when they fuck up. Because you don't want to let a guy who can roll out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for a Girl Scout and some ice cream. You don't want to give that guy the power to drop atomic bombs around the world or airstrikes or whatever. And sadly, he has that power.
Right.
I wouldn't let that guy. If I dropped my wallet on the ground in front of him, I wouldn't say, "Joe, could you pick that up for me?" Because he probably, "Who's Joe?" He'd go like, "Who's Joe?"
What's a wallet? No, what he would say based on that performance at the town hall is, "You didn't drop your wallet. That's not a wallet. Nobody's dropping wallets. Nobody said that."
And about Satan,
yeah, I'm not sucking blood.
Right? It was like one of the funniest YouTube videos that I've seen.
This is already Christmas time for this guy.
One of the and dope time. Smell it.
That's the legal weed you're smelling.
One of the funniest YouTube videos that I've seen is when Johnny Carson interviews various people. Johnny Carson being decades before the idiots on Late Night Now, but really the guy who made Late Night.
Idiot.
Well, he was no idiot, Johnny Carson, but
there's things to like and things to dislike about Johnny Carson.
Right.
Let's go to the shade a little bit.
Absolutely, but he entered. Dean Martin was a regular guest, and Dean Martin loved to drink and loved to walk.
They're smoking cigarettes and drinking booze on the Tonight Show like crazy.
I saw Dean Martin in the Los Angeles airport in 1986 in January. It's a pretty good memory, huh?
She said, "Nice car, Father." Thank you, asshole.
No.
It's from Cannonball Run.
No, but he.
Let's just wait here. That light's
Sure. But he was shit-faced at, in the afternoon, walking like this. And in one of the episodes where I think he's been interviewed by Cash several times, but one of them, Carson rather. He is just so far out there. I mean, he's really sloshed. And he was more cogent in that interview than Joe Biden was in that town hall. I mean, really. I mean, I understand why Democrats are going to the communist wing, because at least it's wrong, it's 100% wrong, but at least there's some attempt of logic in paragraphs and sentences to what they want to do. I mean, it's completely wrong, but what Biden is doing is just spouting gibberish.
Well, I mean, to disagree slightly, I think he was unusually coherent, but the things that he was saying were literally the opposite of fact. I mean, he said that whole thing about how 99.5% of people who find themselves in a certain place with a certain sickness have not undergone a certain thing that they want everybody to undergo.
Right.
Where the hell did he get that number from? I mean, he's saying all these things without citing any evidence, and statements like that are so regularly contradicted, basically daily.
Well, another thing he does is an extension of the Barack Obama. Some would say, and nobody would say what Barack Obama was saying. Some would say.
The other great thing that he said was, the other day I was speaking to Barack Obama. So, that Barack, because I didn't know who you were talking about.
Exactly. But he
Barack,
says,
wait a minute. I know a lot of guys named Barack.
I mean, he's not quite this bad, but he's almost to the point of saying, there are three things wrong with that argument. Number 4.
Yeah. A, you don't know what you're talking about. B, next question. Let me finish the answer.
Yeah.
No, let me finish the question, he kept saying.
Yeah.
He just, this was now taken over
expanded.
by Lenny's.
This has been here for a while, but it's gotten bigger.
But as Lenny's?
Lenwich, yeah.
I thought it was a rotisserie chicken thing.
A while back, maybe. But,
that looks like a good new kind of Cuban sandwich.
This is my hood. It's your hood too, to a certain extent, but
back in the day.
That's Starbucks is new.
Huh. That's strange that they're opening new ones and closing other ones.
I used to go to Starbucks almost every day to have 1 or 2 cups of tea with honey.
I'll tell you this, Charles, on that whole, this was the Nutella place.
Right, and isn't Nutella a big global brand?
I'm surprised that it would go out. Yeah.
It tastes like crap.
Okay. This at least should be coming back. Let's see if this returns. A lot of lost time there, sorry.
It's okay.
Viewers and Charles, let's see if we come back. Okay, so I think we may have solved ether mode.
Good. You want to go this way and down 5th, or you want to go down University?
Sure, we can go over here.
This is one of the nicest blocks in New York City, actually, right here, 11th Street.
But there was something actually pretty important I wanted to share with you before we had that horrible data outage, which, of course, now I can't remember. Okay, we are back.
Good.
Joe Biden, he said he listens to science. He doesn't tell scientists what to do. That is false.
Exactly.
Because I would presume, and if I'm wrong about this, it's another ridiculous thing about Joe Biden, but I would presume that Jen Psaki is speaking on behalf of the Joe Biden White House as the White House press secretary. So therefore, if she says Facebook needs to remove a particular scientist, like Dr. Judy Mikovits, or a lawyer with tremendous scientific background and knowledge who specializes in vaccine law, like Robert Kennedy Jr., he is telling scientists what to do. He's telling dissenting scientists to shut up and go away.
And you don't get any money, any grant money, which you need.
Right, so he's not actually listening to scientists. He's listening to complicit puppets who are willing to say what they know wants to be said to, you know, go along to get along and toe the party line. He was so deceptive in that thing. I almost, Charles, want to do a video where we break down the whole entire town hall, and
we could do that. We do like
Mystery Science Theater 3000, where we just watch it and talk about it.
When we could also have, you know, Pinocchios, 4 Pinocchios. How many Pinocchios?
Come up with our own thing. It'd have to be better than Pinocchios.
Yeah, it could be 4 toilet bowls, whatever.
This would have to be the maximum. It would be the 10 pounds of bullshit in a 5-pound bag award.
Right.
And Biden would have about 700 pounds by the time we're done.
Or a picture of an incinerator blowing up, a trash incinerator blowing up. Which side of the road do we want to be on here?
Go to the shaded side.
Well,
but there was something else that occurred to me, Charles, because I was watching the Trump speech at Turning Point USA, which I think occurred yesterday. It was interesting to watch it in juxtaposition to the Joe Biden town hall, because I think you told me you saw it on C-SPAN, but I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet until I looked at Rumble. And that reminds me, let's just check if our Rumble broadcast has resumed, because it was thrown off. But yes, people can still be watching, it would appear, on, is it working? Rumble.com, yes, /user/CS the truth. People can watch on Rumble. And Charles, I've done something else today.
What's
to
that?
Try to boost our fight against the big tech empire. Well, people have been asking me to put videos on Odyssey.com. And it has certain technical challenges, but I agree that I want to do it because YouTube has become so oppressive. We need as many ways to get around them as possible. So if people now go to Odyssey, let's see if it's playing. That little data disruption may have had a negative impact, but well, it says live stream in progress. Let's see if that's true.
Is that Kaizen?
Well, it is constantly trying. Look at that. People can now watch our live streams on Odyssey.com. And if you search for Crowdsource the Truth on there, it's working, Charles. Amazing.
Well, you're going to have to give a raise to the production department.
Exactly. Well, and then, you know, the other thing that I've come up with that's an interesting way.
There is no I in team, Jason.
Right. But there is one in indictment, and we need some of those. And we'll talk more about Hunter Biden and some of the gaslighting that Joe was doing at his thing. But one of the things that I can also do is that through the new Crowdsource the Truth video server that provides videos to sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth, I'm actually cooking up a super duper way by which we could do public broadcasts through that.
Wow.
Even for people who aren't sponsors. But the problem is it will put a lot of bandwidth pressure on the server, and that costs money. So I want to thank the people who are sponsors. and encourage viewers who aren't yet sponsors, who want this and other crowdsource The Truth shows to continue, to please consider becoming a sponsor, because it's becoming increasingly difficult to keep the show alive.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. One point I wanted to make, it's got the lunatic over there on the right. Over there, he's yelling. I circulated on Twitter, I suppose the short way to say that is I tweeted a story that with a question mark, is it true? That apparently somebody, and this is pretty funny, submitted, if you've ever done a 23andMe test, I've done it.
Oh yeah, you
submit saliva. So this person submitted saliva and got the response back that he was or she was roughly 48% Indian on the subcontinent, and roughly 52% Ashkenazi Jew, roughly. I don't remember the
33% salamander.
And actually, yeah, it was 100% lizard.
It was in
saliva.
Saliva.
Yeah, and that's the result that came back. And I got to tell you, when my own came back, I was very surprised because
you did it.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
Oh, they're cloning Charles Ortel in China right now.
Oh, I did it a long time ago, but my mother.
Some radio interference bad right here.
Well, because the police are right over there. I got my grandmother was born in Brazil, and from a family that had been in Brazil for a long time, and that had many, and every generation had many kids. And pictures of some of my great grandfather, maybe even older than that, show. They weren't African, but really tan. And when I say tan, way darker than Barack Obama. And of course, it's very hot where they were, and guy who lived a long time. But anyway, I was surprised to see that I had 0 African American, according to our African
23andMe.
According to 23andMe, because I fully expected
some
portion. I mean, to put that number in perspective, Clarissa's mother came back 10% African American, and she's about as white as you.
Yeah, she can't even dance.
No, she certainly cannot dance.
That might get me canceled now. Sorry.
That's all right. No, she's a nice enough lady, but you would not mistake her for being African American.
Right.
So I just was shocked that I had none. And so now with this, now maybe it's a complete fluke, and maybe it's just somebody was joking around in the test department and they knew it and they wanted to get the attention. But I find that rather shocking. Because we're going to follow the science. 23andMe is supposedly science.
Yeah, it's like Theranos, right? They're just baffling where you use some alleged scientific process, and in actual fact, they just have some creative writer down there scribbling nonsense.
Right.
So Charles, we're back at one of our favorite spots here, Washington Square Park. I actually was here last night. My cousin was in town with his kid.
Trying to get some marijuana?
No.
The cousin?
No, she's very young, his kid.
Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
We just went to Monty's, actually, and then we're
nice.
coming back through the park, and it was nicely not filled with crazy people, and there were a large number, much more than right now,
of cops at night.
Oh, yeah. Here.
Well, so this area here, I think, is still, if we look further down, it's closed off, I believe, in that corner. And they figured, remember we went before and it was closed off?
That was Heroin Central.
Right, and they figured that, nothing's going to change. People will the Heroin Central will disappear. Instead, it relocated 100 feet over there.
So now you've reminded me, although heroin is not crack, Charles.
Are you sure?
It just reminded me of Joe Biden, because he was talking about, his big thing is gun control and gun laws, and he's trying to say, oh no, yeah, crime is down. It's another thing. He's like, it's like somebody punches you in the face, and then they're like, what are you doing on the floor?
You mean like the mayor of Portland? Remember he was saying, Trump is wrong, actually things are fine in Portland. Here's the 2 cop.
Right, and that's good, is that they're here just being present, and that makes it a lot less likely. Notice there's no skateboarders, there's no... Oh, wait a minute, there's a skateboarder right there.
Right.
So the question is, will they enforce the no skateboarding?
No. See, this is what I was talking about. They jump up on that. You see the tracks on the...
That's dangerous.
Let's just...
Damaging the property, and they're just chit-chatting. So it's better than not being here, but they're still not really...
Well, their presence, I think, definitely... because it's not just those 2. We saw another 4, and there's a bunch over there, 4 over there. So you're less likely to go into full riot mode.
Right.
That does say it won't happen, but you're less likely.
We got a music critic here.
Shut the fuck up.
So they're not enforcing no bicycles. This looks closer to a motorcycle.
Right, exactly. And here we go. This is the Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Well, they had a whole festival a few weeks ago.
It's a Hare nonsense.
Where would you like to go now? More
I
in the
think-
park?
yeah, let's-
Here we see a bunch of cops standing around.
But let's not engage them.
I'm not going to engage them, but I want people to understand what's going on. They're standing around having a conversation
They're probably saying, you know,
while the law is being flouted. People are riding bicycles, riding skateboards. If it were made clear that it is against the law to ride a skateboard in the park, and if the NYPD would enforce the law rather than standing around chit-chatting,
yeah.
citizens would be safer.
Well, they're probably sitting there going, do you have Johnson & Johnson? I like Johnson & Johnson. You have any Procter & Gamble in your 401k? But honestly, Jason, well, there's two more over there. I mean, this Garibaldi statue, let's go over it. This is prime skateboarding hell, where they come down, and here's the gentleman who tries to sell art to me.
You're kind in referring to him as a gentleman.
Well, we're here.
Yeah, it's nice to be in the shade for a moment. People are saying, spoke too soon, crap, buffering again. Let's see if it's back here. Well, I think people might have just missed that nice interlude with the,
Piano.
let's see. Oh, well, yeah, it just stopped just before. That's interesting.
No, he's standing on top of it.
Huh. Well, people may have missed our little buffering back. People say, crap, spoke too soon, LOL. Let's see if it comes back. I think it's back now. Okay. So the thing that people just missed is that we were listening to some really pretty nice piano music from someone who seems to be perhaps crazy, because he's now standing on the piano.
Now he comes around asking for money,
It's a fair.
but to be Venmo'd, not cash.
Oh, wow. Well, that's smart, so he's not a subject of being robbed.
Well, he want to make sure that you declare your income. So I'm
Right.
sure he's
Well,
doing.
Venmo makes it more likely that he'll do that than with cash. Yeah, we're back, so that's good. Now, my question is, when we have an outage like that, does it return? Oh, look at that, it does. Odyssey resumes as well. So that's cool, Charles. People can now watch the live streams on Crowdsource The Truth 5, the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel,
Good.
Rumble, and Odyssey. So, we'll continue to make, I will make a Crowdsource The Truth 6 to make up for the missing Crowdsource 4 ever.
Good.
But it starts to just become constant chasing of YouTube. It's probably better for people to become sponsors and get it on those other channels. But
So what we want to do, Jason, is we want to head this way,
Yeah.
and we got to go to the place where Joe Biden and the other bootlickers take their instructions from the communists. So the logical place would be to check out Chinatown.
oh yes, right, Chinatown.
Chinatown.
So the one thing that I wanted to say about Joe Biden is that he's talking about gun control, and he's talking about cracking down on stores that aren't doing adequate background checks and ghost guns and things like that. How does the best informed, according to Joe Biden, journalist in America, the bloated Don Lemon, fail to ask him about his son's lying
Careful.
on an application for a gun and throwing away of a gun and all this crazy impropriety that Hunter Biden has been involved in with
Well, you've
guns?
hit on it, something that is central to what we've been talking about, as always, that if you're dealing with people who are prepared to lie under oath, which is what the Clintons are all about, which is what Eric Holder is all about. When he was cited for contempt of Congress, he said he will wear that as a badge of honor for the rest of his life. He's a lawyer, attorney general.
Yeah,
And
Covington and Burling.
of course, Hillary Clinton believes that you can lie under oath, that you're required to lie under oath if it advances your political aims. And I would bet that Barack Obama is quite happy to lie under oath, and we know that even B-Rock was using.
Who? Oh, Obama, you mean?
Yeah, right.
There's so many different guys named Barack.
Right. Even he was using a private email while being president, and the problem with that is that presidential records are the only source that we will be able to use in time to evaluate what actually happened in the presidency. So the second you say it's okay for the president, the vice president, secretary of state, and other people to conduct official business on private emails and using private servers, unsecured private servers, you're gutting the ability to assess in time what really happened.
And I have to bet they did that on purpose.
Of course they did. And email, when Bill Clinton started in the White House on January 20th, 1993, soliciting blowjobs from interns. I mean, as President of the United States. What did I say? Did I say that? Sorry.
I might have heard something.
There was no email. There was something I believe was called DARPA mail.
Right. It just wasn't widely used.
Right.
At all.
It was used by the scientific community. And yeah, you think there's a reason why those barriers are up there? You think it could be so that people don't skateboard?
Those guys.
That's like 6 months.
It says no skateboarding, but I think what I'll do is I'll take down.
Sign down.
Yeah.
Now it's okay.
So.
They've gutted this stuff, Charles.
Well, yeah. So this whole idea that you can have a system of government when the leaders of it, A, profit off of it, B, break all the rules that apply to we the people, and C, use government resources either to further their own political aims or to torture, imprison, persecute perceived political opponents. And then at the same time, when you cancel people on social media, you already control the corporate media and the academia, so you're able to shape public opinion. You're very close now in 2021, as Trump said yesterday in Phoenix. This is not about socialism anymore. This is communism. This is what we have now.
Yeah.
And we're kidding ourselves to think that that isn't the case. I mean, you try today as a conservative to join the young conservatives in high school from a private school. You just try to get into Yale, Harvard, and Princeton. It'll never happen, in my view. Never. Let's go. Well, let's go down Mulberry Street.
Sure. And you know, the other thing, Charles, is that I thought that was a very interesting presentation by Trump at Turning Point, or whatever that was.
Turning Point, yeah.
But I mean, even if we discussed what he was talking about, the channel would get deleted from YouTube.
Well, and he was a little slower than he was
What do you mean?
back in 2015. He made a few mistakes that he generally in the 15-16 time frame, because all of the media training he'd had, because he actually is reasonably precise in the way he speaks, he would seldom use a word with the wrong tense or some words sound similar and he'd use the wrong word. He did that a few times, I noticed. He corrected himself. And you know, by the way, what is he now, 74?
Well, you know what I would attribute it to more than age? Because he does not seem to have slowed down to me.
Right.
Definitely his public speaking style and technique have changed radically from when he first started. Because when he had to read, he was very comfortable, I think, going up in front of some corporate dinner with 1,000 people or on TV or whatever,
Right.
and being Trump. But in terms of reading some carefully prepared document where if you say this instead of that, now there's a legal implication, there seemed to me to be a period where he was being trained to present off a teleprompter, and there was a definite period where you could tell where he was reading off the teleprompter
Right.
versus ad-libbing, and I think we're seeing some evolution of that process, of his public speaking approach changing.
Could be. So I think what we do is hang a right here, because Mulberry Street, from memory, is in between these streets.
Because the other thing that he did, Charles, is he made a lot of allegations about a thing that happened like sort of towards the end of last year.
Really? It was like a thing that happens every 4 years?
Yeah, he said certain things about that thing that YouTube doesn't want us to say.
We didn't say anything.
Well, he raised points that are important points that need to be discussed and addressed. And the fact that they're shutting down that dissenting discussion, I thought it was very notable that he didn't bring up, let me introduce you to my idiot friend, Mike Lindell. Let me introduce you to his idiot Ginger Frankenstein with the armed guards, Patrick Byrne. He's not locking arms with these dopes.
Or Mary Fanning.
Or Mary Fanning, who QAnon seems to have fooled into thinking are patriots and heroes. A lot of the same gullible people who felt that an anonymous internet phenomenon was here to help us seem to think that these idiots who are advertising pillows and collecting money are doing a good thing. And people say, oh, well, you know, nobody's perfect, and he's raising money for these, the A word for something that's happening in a state that begins with an A. But here's what I wanted to say, Charles. Let's imagine you set out to bake a cake. I don't imagine you're much of a pastry chef.
No, I'm not a pastry chef.
But you are aware that a cake and baking and cooking...
Does that involve an oven?
Well, yes, but you know, there are certain scientific properties that different things have.
Right.
Fats and yeast, and you know, there are certain things that are necessary to make a cake. And in other words, if I put salt in your cake instead of yeast, that's not going to be a real good cake. So if I show up at your house for your baking party and I say, Charles, I'm here to help you. Buy the pillow, and I brought all the flour and the eggs and the yeast and the... But instead of yeast, I've replaced it with quicksand, and you're all excited that I'm here to help you, and I start sponsoring the bake sale with my pillow, and then the cake fails.
I'd say, hey, I didn't invite you, Joe Biden, to my party.
Well, no, that was supposed to be Mike Lindell. You're working for Dominion. That's Mike Lindell.
Oh, okay.
But this is what I allege these guys are doing. They've embedded themselves in the cake baking process, so at the right time they can provide the critical wrong ingredient to destroy the entire cake. And I think that Donald Trump is aware of that, which is specifically why he's not locking arms with them, he's not appearing at their stupid events, and he's not saying that they know what they're talking about. He's not even citing their alleged evidence.
It's good now. I mean, I think Mike Lindell should do a project with Waste Watchers or something like that, where and Biden, where they could do, you know, one of the major comorbidities for the disease that the virus we shouldn't talk about is obesity.
Right.
So to eliminate obesity, you could have this really disgusting food that you could sell out of Weight Watchers with commentary from Joe Biden. And then the way you lose your weight is you throw up into a Mike Lindell barf bag. And
well, it would have to be a plurality of vomit followed by a secondary.
And it would fit right into Mike Lindell's business plan, because the pillowcases that didn't work, you turn them into vomit bags.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Am I thinking?
I like it. I think. Wait. But you know, that was a real takeaway for me from the Trump event there, and I thought he was raising some excellent points. All the things that he was talking about were easily verified or refuted by checking evidence that should be available. He wasn't relying on dubious claims from people whose own lawyers have said they're con men, or from alcoholic women who refuse to appear on video and refuse to answer questions.
By the way, that woman's husband, the law firm that he worked for was Kirkland & Ellis. And I forgot, I was looking at Conchita Sarnoff's book, Trafficking, which is not edited at all. But it's got a lot of nuggets in it that need to be checked out. Some I know are wrong. For example, she says that the Clinton Foundation started as a public charity and even close. But she does allege that people involved in the Epstein defense and the Epstein prosecution, three of them had ties to Kirkland & Ellis. Ken Starr was working for them, defending Epstein. Left Court, I think, was working with Dershowitz.
Right, he was the guy whose name was on the letter that Dershowitz was very concerned about during our interview.
And Acosta, also, he was a U.S. attorney. He ended up at Kirkland & Ellis. Well, again, that's like saying, and that's actually kind of an interesting building right there. Maybe people haven't seen it before. That's like saying, you know, in finance, you find 5 really senior people in government all worked at Goldman Sachs. I mean, Kirkland & Ellis is a fantastic law firm, actually.
Or like saying I know somebody who worked at Sony because I worked on a movie.
Right. So it's not surprising that people would end up in the government and also be linked to Kirkland & Ellis. It's like, you know, it's one of the major firms in the Midwest.
It is something that should not be allowed to be done, where you can be the attorney general, and come back as the attorney general and go work at these law firms. And
well, and on that, I want to talk about the Clinton Foundation at the very end, assuming we don't get cut off. Maybe I should talk about it in the middle, but for that reason. But one of the things I've noticed that has never worked well for me in life is when you have a project that requires specific expertise within a field like construction, as an example, or the law, or finance, and you hire somebody who's a generalist, who could talk the talk and walk the walk, but doesn't have that specific expertise, and says, this is simple, it's just everybody understands this, I'll do it for you and I'll cut you a break or whatever. When you fall for that, generally, you lose your ass or worse. And in Starr's own book, he talks about the fact that when he replaced Robert Fisk as the person looking into Whitewater, he was originally overwhelmed because he didn't have the training to look into the complex finance and real estate shenanigans, money laundering shenanigans that Whitewater is all about. So that's just, I'm wondering here. Maybe I should just, because I don't want to get cut up. I was talking just before I met you today with one of our friends who shall remain nameless, a great supporter and a great American patriot. I have a new development on the Clinton Foundation, and I've discovered a trick. Wow, that's a nice car.
Yeah, it is.
What is it?
That's a Mercedes SL. It's like an AMG. What is this? It's a
GT, it says.
Yeah, this is a really amazing car.
What do you think that costs?
Modern SL. Nice car, fellas. Is that yours?
Yeah, man.
So,
a lot of wires going on, man.
What exactly is the model we're looking at here? AMG SL?
Yes, AMG GT.
What does it go? 0 to 60 in?
3 something.
Faster than you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you're driving this car,
in these streets.
you go slow. People wait for
right
you.
now? You can't be filming.
Sorry about that. No problem. We'll leave you alone.
Nice car, though. Yeah, that's right. That's not his car. Anyway.
Today it is.
So, remember how we've been talking on the Clinton Foundation that for 2007, 8, and 9, they produced financial statements, BKD did, that in the versions that are up on the Clinton Foundation website, they're missing pages.
Oh, yeah.
These are what are called combining financial statements for the constituent elements of the Clinton Foundation that they choose to talk about. So one of them they call the Foundation, one is Clinton Hunter Development Initiative, one is Clinton Justra, which is sustainable, which is the Canadian thing.
I guess the cops have been refunded. They got BMWs there.
Yeah, nice. One was Clinton Climate, which didn't exist, has never existed lawfully, and one was Chai. And so what these do, and for people like me who enjoy this kind of financial analysis, these sorts of financial statements done properly do give you a sense about how each unit in theory may have been doing. So one curiosity of the disclosures for Chai was that Chai in 2008, I believe, had revenues exactly equal to expenses and assets exactly equal to liabilities in these combining statements. And that's impossible, particularly for a company that is operating in all sorts of different currencies around the world. The likelihood that you would have that result without an entry that says foreign exchange gains and losses in your income statement and balance sheet is 0%.
Because you're saying the exchange rate on foreign currencies they're paid is going to cause it to fluctuate some.
Yeah, you can't legitimately force the thing to balance. So that presents a possibility, which I think is a certainty, that there is a missing set of companies that are not presented in the balance sheet that I figured out.
Oh, wow.
And so one of them, the way you figure it out, is that with regard to 2008, those statements were issued on the 31st December 2009. So that's well into the end of, I guess, more than
legal weed, Charles.
Legal weed. That's well into B-Rock's first year. I think he gave his speech accepting the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever in December of 2010. Another honor that he so richly deserved.
Oh, that guy's watching the show, I think.
Really?
Or maybe he said, I thought he said, do these guys smell weed? He said something about weed and he had a phone in his hand.
That's it. So these statements, you look at them And what they do is they correct for 2007 the balance sheet that had been issued. The 2007 balance sheet was issued on December 12th, 2008. So after B-Rock was elected, but before he was sworn into office on January 20th, 2009.
Does that indicate to you that they felt emboldened by his election
Absolutely.
to do something that they wouldn't have done before?
And let me tell you why. So, in the 2007 results that are issued in 2008, they claim that they have $85 million worth of cash on December 31st, 2007. Now that's a lot of coin, a lot of Benjamins.
Yeah,
right?
Good work if you can get it.
And in the same version that's prepared for 2008, which shows also the 2007 balance sheet revised, the 85 million turns into 42 million. 42 million and change.
Magic.
Well, that's very significant because 42,910,000 of it, they say, is assets limited as to use, which they define as money that Unitaid, this conglomerate housed within the horrid World Health Organization, which has brought us so much misery ever since, in particular, March of 2020, but even beforehand with their disastrous fight against HIV and AIDS, which has been a huge waste of money and brought huge harm around the world. That asset, the 42,910,000, should have shown up in the 2007 combining statements for Chai. And it can't be in those statements without there being some new undisclosed intermediate subsidiary that had basically been given the 42,910,000 by Chai. So what that, in simple terms, confesses to is that the Clinton Foundation diverted at least 42.9 million from Chai for other uses in 2007. Now, what was going on in 2007?
Hillary running for...
Exactly. Primaries hadn't started yet, and primaries began in 2008, but she announced January 20th, 2007. So this change was made by December 31st, 2009, which is precisely when the Unitaid financial statements and other entities housed within the World Health Organization were investigated by the French Cour de Compte.
And
so
they're tough, you say.
Very tough. And so what I say with regard to this, and now a second topic, beginning in 2002, Bill Clinton and Ira Magaziner, two people who have confessed to lying under oath.
Iconic Magaziner.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah, way to go. They began going around the world and in effect acting as agents for many foreign governments, for the governmental organization CARICOM, which is a Caribbean thing, for the government of the UK, for the government of Sweden, Norway, Ireland, and others. And they confessed to this in all sorts of public disclosures. They were acting as agent, taking government grants and using those grants in theory to buy HIV and AIDS medicines and other medical items and distribute those around the world. But there's never been any accounting for that.
But also Bill Clinton specifically referred to selling pharmaceuticals at that Beacon Theater event.
Yeah, I think he might have been at that event. He might have had a bit of a
couple drinks,
or a bit of Coke, or who knows, non-Coca-Cola Coke. But so the books and accounts for the criminal, I would argue, consulting operation to governments to scam money out of these governments, to say that they in theory were using the money exclusively to help HIV and AIDS sufferers around the world in poor countries. There's never been an accounting for that, and indeed the line government grants for the Clinton Foundation in the 1990s through 2007 is blank for government grants at a time when hundreds of millions of dollars per year in theory were flowing to this entity. So I call bullshit again on the Clinton Foundation. I call bullshit on the FBI that they should have seen all this starting in 2002 when Comey took over the investigation for the DOJ, and he was working with Mueller with the FBI in theory on this investigation. I call bullshit on the idea that no one in the FBI noticed Ira Magaziner and Bill Clinton jetting around the world, making all these deals to take government grants and use it to buy HIV/AIDS medicine in theory, and then wiring all this money around the world, just as we were hunting terrorists, as we were clamping down on...
you say hiring terrorists?
Yeah, clamping down on your flexibility to have foreign bank accounts. I just call bullshit on that. The whole 2001 to 2005 FBI investigation is bullshit. There was one in 2009, suggested they had a grand jury. There's just a one-page thing in a filing in the FBI vault file. I call bullshit on that investigation. And I call bullshit on the investigation that, in theory, investigations plural, that opened in January 2016 by the FBI, that have been confirmed by I.G. Horowitz. I call bullshit on that. And if Durham doesn't get off his ass and prosecute, I call bullshit on him.
Call it now. That place smelled great.
Not like bullshit?
No, but Durham is bullshit. Nothing is going to happen. All of that was nonsense. I agree with everything that you've just said. They're not investigating a damn thing. And we forgot to also raise this incredibly shocking thing that the DOJ has just decided they're not even going to bother continue to investigate Cuomo and the elder care homes.
Why would you do that?
Cancel it, or why investigate?
I know, I'm teasing, of course. It's absurd. I mean, really, there comes a point, where we give discretion to people to make decisions to prosecute and decisions not to prosecute, and we give deference to people with titles and dynastic families and celebrities, and there comes a point where you just lose your patience. Let's go on.
But there's no cars going here, and we can walk right down the street to Little Italy.
All right.
Cannoli King, Charles. Look at that.
Yeah, he used to be over there. He's moved.
I think you might call that a sandwich board if it wasn't
a cannoli board. It's a big cannoli thing. And what do we have with this new? I'm not complaining about the new ladies' approach of like letting it all hang out, but
well, I mean, maybe they're going to get body painted or something. Yeah. Oh wait, here is the cannoli King's
this is the cannoli King's
crown.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's making me want a cannoli.
You want a cannoli?
Not right now, though. Maybe for dessert tonight, but I don't know if I'm gonna come all the way back down here. You're supposed to leave the gun and take the cannolis. Right? Maybe.
What line is that? That's from.
I think it's they kill somebody in Goodfellas, right?
You know that stuff much better than I do.
I can't remember if they leave the cannolis and take the gun, or leave the gun and take the cannoli.
Garbage right next to a restaurant.
Yeah, well, we've got a little bit of kind of street fair atmosphere, almost like San Gennaro. Oh, and look, and the cigar company. Is this one of these ones where they're rolling it out here on
Yeah. You want a big cigar?
No, I don't really like cigars at all.
I used to like them in my 20s, but not anymore.
Yeah, they just kind of stink and make my throat hurt.
So we can get, there's a license plate I've been meaning to get for a number of
There's
people.
a certain type of person who walks around New York slowly, and then when you try to go around them, they slowly widen out and take up more space.
We're going to go to this license plate stand over here. And there's a license plates I wouldn't mind getting. See, you got over here?
The boss. Well, we
The
don't
boss.
want that anymore.
Well, we got one for Hillary.
Get one that says Eric Clapton, because the boss is a loser.
Got one for Hillary.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for Hillary. She's the princess bitch.
Yeah. Anyway, just keep on going.
Why do they sell these? It seems like a real easy way to put a fake license plate on your car and drive around.
I don't think you get very far with that license plate on the road. But
You never know. I think I've eaten here. Cafe Napoli. Sorry.
thanks.
So anyway, Charles, that's
this-
really outrageous.
And we're getting now close to Chinatown. If we go, actually, this is almost a demarcation. We'll walk by this one restaurant where I go with my brother, and then we'll make a left. If we go in on the sidewalk, we could show you.
What did you think about Biden during his little meeting there with Don Bloated Lemon?
Lemon.
He was saying how Putin knows me. He knows I'm tough. I was like, I don't think so, Joe. Putin thinks you're an idiot. I gotta bet.
We could do a show where Putin is commenting on it.
Putin, the thing that's good about him is that he just sort of sits there and listens, and then when he comments, he says things that, how can you argue? I mean, that interview with that British dope, I think he made the guy look pretty stupid.
Yeah, well, he's the kind of guy, he's not really much into talking, and he's pretty much into killing. You know, it's like, if I disagree with you, I'm just going to kill you.
But is that true, though? I mean,
I think so.
who was the last person that he had killed? All of those guys that they say he killed with the polonium and whatever.
Well, no, what
they
I'm
all
saying,
happen to know Christopher Steele.
I'm talking about. I mean, I think on our side we do it as well. I'm just saying, in that business of.
Right, the guys who talk the least are the ones you should be worried about.
Remember when I was in, this friend of mine and I we went to Odessa in the Ukraine.
Did you check out the steps?
We checked out the restaurants.
It's a film joke.
Yeah, I know. So, but we were in this really nice. Odessa's funny. It has some modern hotels, and then it has some very beautiful converted palaces, which are more boutique hotels that might have 30 guests or 50 guests. So we stayed at one of them, and in the bar there was this guy who had like a waxed head, and he had you could tell,
Waxed head?
Yeah, I mean he had completely bald, a waxed head, and he had probably 2% body fat, and he moved like he moved like he was just a real fighter. And my friend is very talkative, and we're in the bar drinking and talking, and we start talking to this guy. And, so what do you do? I said, well, I'm a retired Spetsnaz officer from Russia.
What kind of officer?
Like Spetsnaz, I think that's the, people will correct the pronunciation. Now here we may be able to overhear where Biden goes to get his instructions from the Chinese Communist Party.
We got to go to the Triad Street. There's that, the street I'm thinking about, where they throw all the fireworks at you if you go there on Chinese New Year.
Yeah. But, so we're in the bar with this guy, and we start talking to him, and Christian presses him and says, so really, what do you do? And I said, well, I used to specialize in killing people in Africa, and I'm now retired, and so what I do, I specialize in protecting rich people.
Huh.
And Christian said, wow, so you'd protect me? And
he said, no, you're somebody I would kill.
No, he said, yeah, I would, of course, but, so Chris said, well, how would it work? And he said, well, what you would do is you'd give me a list of anybody you do not want anywhere near you. And if that person shows up
I'll kill
near
him.
you, I would kill that person on the spot.
Ooh, can you give me that guy's number, Charles?
But he's one of those guys where you don't want to engage with
on the spot.
You just don't want to engage with people like that, because what if you get into a disagreement?
Exactly.
Right, you're not going to win.
You're in arrears.
That's right. I didn't know you that. Bang.
Right, exactly. I actually do have some friends in New Jersey who have historically offered to solve problems for me, but I don't think you want to be in business
right
with those kind of problem solvers.
So do you think, is it the Salon Nail and Spa where he goes, do you think? Or
I don't know.
Or here, the Wonton Garden? Is this where Joe comes? Joe Hayden?
I have a feeling, Charles, there are a lot of little secretive sort of alcoves here that you've got to be in the know to be aware of.
Yeah.
And
maybe we'll go up this. This is Bayard Street, I think, if that's how you pronounce it. That we go up that way. There's more.
But what's the street I'm thinking about that's like
I don't know.
The main kind of Chinatown street. It's got a really unique curve to it.
Yeah, I know the street you're talking about.
I'm feeling radio interference in the handle here.
I'm feeling fish interference.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing.
Flies on the fish.
At like 5 o'clock, they're going to dump all that ice down the sidewalk, and that creates the smell that we're smelling right now.
It's called pungent. Pungency.
Yeah, I think we're heading towards it.
I think we are.
It's not, what's it? Is it?
If we go on this side of the street, there'll be more restaurant fronts. Well, I think it is like maybe the next one up. Is it Mott Street?
Yes, Mott Street.
That's
yes.
the next street up. With that unerring sense of direction.
No, I have a terrible sense of direction.
I have a pretty good one.
But I have definitely had fireworks thrown around me.
I have a good sense of direction, honed by trying not to use maps as much as possible.
Yeah, I would get lost in my apartment without a GPS.
Can I get you a fishbowl?
I'm good. But you can get a wedding cake there.
One or two?
Well, two, but gotta return them. Motivational speaking.
That's Hillary Clinton. Line from her draft inauguration speech that never happened. Thank God. Thank Lucifer.
She does, right? No, Saul Alinsky does. What is with the furry cucumber? And then there's a cat here.
And there's another cat there.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a little. What's
not
it called?
I tend not to.
Toxoplasmosis on your vegetables.
I tend not to buy my fresh vegetables
From a cat?
on a cat.
Yeah.
Just in the same way. This is the street you're thinking of. We can go down here if you want. In the same way, I went to a restaurant in Tokyo a long time ago with this crazy friend of mine. Insisted we go where they served sushi on naked women.
Right.
It's like, I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I prefer naked women to cats, but it's still, yeah, there's a time and place for everything.
Pell Street is another one. There you see Pell.
No, but this is the one, Mott Street. This is where they have big gang battles and stuff, and something to do
And
with
garbage.
Yeah, well, that's to.
And garbage.
Goes
I mean,
without
no
saying.
mask, but leave garbage everywhere.
Chinatown Optical. It's a lot of eyeglass stores.
The new Golden Fung Wong Bakery. I love these names. And these signs are basically more or less the way they were, or the way I remember them from the 1960s. Yeah, let's go all the way down there, and this is a part of the city we have definitely not been to before. In fact, I think the last time we were around here, it was more or less completely dead.
Yeah.
There's a
And
helicopter
we didn't really
flying low.
venture fully into. There's really a lot of eyeglass stores.
Right.
I guess perhaps.
And that's not stereotypical thinking.
No, I was going to say genetically, perhaps Asian people are
You're going to get in
susceptible
big
to,
trouble, Jason. Big trouble.
corrective vision. Look, me too. I think most people wear glasses.
I do not.
Most.
Ping. I think I've been to Ping before. There are some very good restaurants hidden away in here. If you like Chinese food, which I know you don't.
I like it, but it makes me feel sick immediately.
And kind of like when you see garbage bags like that with liquid leaking out of them, the first thing you think is, wear a mask. Wear a mask.
Right. Shanghai dim sum. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot to like about Chinatown and Chinese restaurants and Chinese culture.
Absolutely. Then you kind of leave food out here, and
Yeah.
that doesn't, that's not going to attract bugs, and mice, and shit.
Garbage right in between the restaurants.
But there are actually, and sometimes it's the least impressive looking restaurants that have the best food.
Right. You got to gauge it by how many actual
Chinese
people
right.
are eating in there.
Yeah, always a dead giveaway when you walk by a Chinese restaurant and there's no Chinese people in it.
Yeah.
What do they know that I don't know?
Right.
On the other hand, there used to be, I don't know if it's still closed, still open, there's one on 40, I want to say 5th Street, it might have been 6th, between Lex and 3rd, that I walked by and I noticed it was just crammed with Asian people, and I said, I got to go into this dump because it's a real dump. And the food is excellent.
See, one thing I've noticed, Charles, yesterday, if people missed the Freedom Rally, the Health Freedom Rally that was held up at the Bethesda Fountain, they can still check it out. I hope people will look at that. It's still up on YouTube, thankfully, but also you can see it on Rumble and elsewhere. But there was a girl walking around in platform boots carrying a skateboard, and really observant viewers commented that that is an implausible combination, and that most people would probably snap their ankle in about 4 seconds skateboarding and platform boots. And,
I've seen you do that.
Right. But I mean, I think it's pretty likely that that person had the skateboard because they felt that they could carry it around undeterred and use it as a weapon if they so chose.
And that really would hurt.
Well, it's a dangerous thing. And obviously you can't walk around with a bat or a gun, but if you have that thing that looks innocent, smack somebody with it. And also those girls were there causing trouble.
Right. Were they wearing chador?
It was sort of like a Harajuku light, you know, those girls who dress up in Japan like they're in a video game or something.
I don't know anything about that, but
It's like a Tokyo style of very elaborate, outrageous kind of, you know, costume dress. And these girls were sort of doing that a little bit, or maybe some, I don't know, version of it that I'm not directly familiar with, but they were interviewing people who, I got the impression they were, you know, trying to make people look foolish. Ask them
did
questions.
they succeed?
We didn't even drink this
I mean, listen, you know, if you want to, and you arrange it correctly, and with editing and things, you can make anybody look foolish. Take what they say out of context,
Right.
position it against something else, misrepresent it, change your question, whatever. There's a lot of ways you can make somebody look foolish if that's your intention.
So Chinatown keeps going on. I propose that we head up, though,
Sure.
uptown. I don't know, what street avenue is this? Oh, Bowery, okay.
But I mean, this is a good thing for people to, oh,
This is your curvy street, maybe. This is Doyer Street?
well, this connects to it. This is where the curve goes off to. And part of the reason I think why this was a street of interest is that because of its unusual nature, the gangs could kind of like, you know, do a big war at the intersection and then kind of escape. And it was difficult, I think, to enforce stuff there. So, I don't know, there was gang stuff happening. I saw
this
that
street.
somewhere.
Yeah, I remember this street. What do you think Tuxedo is? Taiwan?
Either a club or a place selling tuxedos.
Taiwan Pork Chop House. This must be Taiwanese food. They do sell a lot of pork in Taiwan.
Yeah.
The Nom Hua Tea Park.
There's a lot of interesting stuff, Charles. Like, look at this. Chemist, like, what the hell is going on in there? It's more like an alchemist. I'm not sure what this painting on the street is. People waiting for, I guess this must be a popular restaurant.
Yeah. Down here.
Nam Hua.
Beauty and Barber Salon. A lot of barber shops.
What? It's funny, you were just talking about head waxing. I'm really not familiar with all this. What would you wax your head for? To pull the hair out, you mean?
I have no idea, Jason.
It's like a Buick?
More
Wax it?
garbage. A lot of garbage. Garbage.
And is Chinatown just super closed on Sunday, or
I don't think it's closed. It's pretty busy.
this stuff all looks closed?
I mean, honestly, if we really did have a raging health emergency, I would have thought the first thing you'd do is say, we have to have some jobs for people who are not necessarily that smart. You just say, look, you got to pick the garbage up. There's no garbage on the street at all. It gets
Right.
picked up every hour. And the street gets washed.
You actually just raised another point that Joe Biden
I
was
know.
gaslighting people on. He had, Don Lemon was like, ooh, Mr. Stupid President, we have a Republican who wants to ask you a question, and he owns 39 restaurants.
That was an idiotic response.
That was idiotic, because first of all, the guy who is the head of a restaurant group that owns 39 restaurants is not a small business person.
Right.
That's a large corporation that has millions of dollars invested. I think the people that are really getting crushed are the people whose whole entire life is about having your business and your family create a restaurant that earns enough money to pay whatever mortgage and just stay a little bit ahead of the debt that you're in. And then when you break that cycle and put them in a huge amount of debt, that can throw off 20, 30, 40 years
Right.
of work. And he totally didn't address that. Joe Biden said that people aren't going back to work because people who were waiters are now getting better jobs. I was thinking, what the hell, Smurf Village planet from outer space are you living in? people are not working at the restaurants anymore, according to waiters that I've spoken to, because there's less people going and they can't make any money there.
Right.
They've had to move out of these expensive cities to go elsewhere and get other crappier jobs, is what I heard.
I think you heard correctly.
The notion that someone who's working at a restaurant is now going to become some sort of executive or an engineer or get into some field that requires training and a skill that they maybe don't have. I mean, you know, around New York, there's a certain type of restaurant job, mostly like steakhouses and fancy old Italian restaurants, where some of the waiters have been working there for 50 years and they make a ton of money.
They make 6 figures.
Right.
See, we don't have a now. Let's go up that way.
Sure. And so, again, it's another one of those jobs where if you throw that off for a year and a half,
Yeah.
maybe the guy with 39 restaurants and a corporation and a big insurance policy and who knows what, maybe they can be, and they even said, oh, look, all these people here helped you stay in business. Yay! It was like turkeys applauding Thanksgiving, Charles.
I know. I mean, the Biden, in quotes, presidency is a shite show. I mean, it's a fright and shite show.
Oh, do you know what this is?
What?
It's another one of these no more undercover cops. Oh, yeah, there he is. I knew they still had undercover cops. Why did they say that?
Well, he wasn't undercover. He was wearing a uniform.
Car unmarked, though.
Well, he's wearing a uniform. Right. So we're on Mott Street.
So they just made the undercover force much less effective. Is
Right.
What they basically
Yeah, that's
did.
exactly what you want to do.
They're going to be undercover, but they're going to wear vests that say NYPD.
Yeah.
Is that a bad idea?
They're going to be undercover, but they're going to call the defendants, the targets of the investigation first. You know, would it be convenient for you if we dropped by for a no-knock raid in 15 minutes?
Right. Oh, Charles, this banana.
Another banana.
This banana is undoubtedly worth $100,000.
One banana, 2 banana.
It's a banana attack on this car. Maybe because of the banana's parking method. But if you don't want to get bananaed, oh, well, I guess it's a thing. What the hell is this guy doing? He's driving right at me here on the sidewalk. What are you honking at, shithead? There's a sidewalk, you fat fuck.
So if you don't get shot, Jason.
Sorry. Guy's driving right at me, right up on the sidewalk, and then honks in my face. I love this kind of restaurant with the ducks hanging.
Appetizing, not.
Look at Beta. Look at
Is
That
that
guy
a
is master of the pan flute.
Is that a genuine fake Louis Vuitton wallet, Jason?
I don't know, but you can get a face mask and spray it with Lysol.
Yeah, there's more. This Chinatown's pretty big. There's also, I haven't been to it, but apparently the Brooklyn Chinatown is also pretty big.
I didn't even know about it, but we're on the opposite side of the Welcome to Chinatown sign.
The what?
That sign says Welcome to Chinatown.
So what is this? North Chinatown over here? Is this North
I didn't
Vietnam?
realize they had that.
Or is this, if that's Chinatown, what would this be? This is like
I don't know.
Russia Town?
No, well, it's coming from that way that you're welcome to.
Ah,
Right. Oh yeah, that reminds me also of the Putin interview with the British guy where he asks why they're not concerned about Chinese aircraft carriers, and he said because
they don't work.
they have a land border.
Yeah.
The
It's like-
largest land
it's
border.
like- yeah,
Doesn't seem like a strategic way for China to intimidate Russia.
when I took that time off to be with my kids, 5 years up in upstate New York, I would pretty much every day that I could go after I dropped my daughter off to school to this breakfast place and sit around with these friends I developed, solving the problems of the world. And we, of course, none of us had any real responsibility, so we could sit there from 8:30 to 10:30.
Well, you had children, that's
Well, we had no bosses.
more responsibility than I have.
Well, you know what I'm saying. My kid was in school, whatever. You could there are those type of breakfast gatherings all over the world, and you could take the ones that basically consist of really fucking hungover people who have, maybe
make that a show.
well,
It'd be
and
smarter
have
than
them critique AOC and Elizabeth Warren and Dick Durbin, these crazy ass idiotic communists and their stupid solutions. I love the fact that Trump in his Phoenix rally referred to the Green New Deal as the Green New Bullshit Deal,
Yeah.
because it is.
There's the original Vincent's, Charles.
Well, I think Hester Street originally wasn't it, didn't part of it become the Jewish section?
I don't know.
I think it did.
You definitely know way more about New York history than I do.
Well, I've been here a bit longer.
Oh, look, something 3D over there. You see that?
You want to check it out?
I'm out of the 3D business. I can't imagine what that is. I'm sure it has nothing
Probably
to do.
3 dunces.
It's probably something to do with toothbrushes or something that has nothing to actually do with 3D, that they just put that there and they'll go, ooh, 3D, let's go look at that.
Like the tomato
silly
bag.
sandwiches.
So I'd say there's a fair amount of activity. It's nice, gratifying to see this. I mean,
So here's a bunch of, I defy you to guess what any of that is.
I'll tell you what all of that is. Nothing I'm going to eat.
Okay, and here's another fish place.
I love the smell of fish. Not.
In the morning. Like napalm. Here, look at that. Oh,
I don't want to look at that.
it's a little hot to have your fish out.
Can
with
I?
all the
I
flies
love.
on 'em.
Yeah, I'd love to get some fish entrails to make fish entrail soup.
But
Yeah, can you put mine with some rat droppings?
But also, isn't it usually if you go to the fish place, it's like inside the most refrigerated
I know.
aspect of the supermarket
But
with all that ice on it anyway?
But you're destroying, you know, the special nature. I remember the first time I was in England in 1976. I walked down. I was staying at this place called Richmond College, which was, to call it a college is a bit of an overstatement. But anyway, that's where I was staying, and I had to walk down this Richmond High Street to get to the subway, the tube stop. And I get close to a meat shop, butcher. Yeah, this is brilliant.
Guy's just riding his Segway. Screw everybody.
Yeah. And he's probably a leader of the triad, coming around
Maybe.
to collect his money. But anyway, I go past this butcher shop and I see meat hanging, but you know, not prepared the way we prepare in the U.S. so it looks appetizing. Just this blood dripping all over it and flies all over it. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Who would buy this shit? But that's the way they served it.
Wow.
I remember, I think it was maybe 2 years later. Yeah, 2 years later, I had a summer job, and I was walking down a street much like this, past a butcher shop, and I see this bigger than a Rolls Royce. It was a special type of Daimler with these guys with the Arab chic outfits, and they're taking these lambs that have been slaughtered. And just chucking them in the trunk of this very expensive car, like piled 3 or 4 of them in there, with the blood oozing off the lamb. And what are you guys thinking?
It's the best taste that way, Charles. You got to rub it around on the floor mats.
Nuts. Now, this is Vietnamese, authentic Vietnamese cuisine.
Yeah, they're not even close.
The pho is
Yeah, pho is the big thing. It's a little salty most of the time.
I don't think I've ever had pho.
It's gigantic.
Can we walk slower?
This is a line for ice cream.
It's like, any chance you guys can walk a little bit more slowly?
Well, you know, it's interesting, Charles. Remember, like in the 80s when I was a kid, there was a lot of propaganda kind of making fun of Russia and movies about like, who's that ballet dancer who owns the...
Baryshnikov?
Yeah, going with Gregory Hines and having to flush his passport down the toilet. White Knights, they had that.
That was a great movie, actually.
Right, but a lot of movies about how oppressive and terrible Russia was, and Moscow on the Hudson, where he was stealing all the toilet paper, and it was always, you know, people lining up.
Right.
That is new. We never, unless it was a Star Wars movie, you never line, or a new iPhone, nobody lines up for anything.
Yeah, except now.
Right.
I've actually noticed in stores that I regularly go to, there's less selection on the shelves.
Of course.
Pretty soon we'll be back to this. You want a phone? That'll be black. It comes on a wall. You can get yours in 11 years.
But
Just
see,
give me
this
the money
is right
now.
up your alley, right? Because I was watching a thing earlier that I was going to ask you about. The more, if you have a tomato sauce factory, because this was happening at Whole Foods for a long time, There's a certain, they have all these different varieties of Whole Foods tomato sauce,
Right.
organic, $2.99. And I have to say, as much as I don't like things like that in a can or a jar, definitely not a can, but in a jar, I'd rather have homemade and everything. But it's actually pretty good. However, for several months, almost all of the varieties were gone, and you could only get this one kind that is like my least favorite, the most acidic. And isn't it true that if you have a factory where you need to make, 5,000 of this and 5,000 of that, and it's just more complicated, more logistics, more ingredients, more things to ship. This store wants vodka sauce, this store wants mushroom sauce. They just simple it down to one. You save money, less selection.
Model T.
This is socialism versus capitalism, where somebody decides, you know what, I could make more money offering an organic vodka sauce, but I'll charge $6.99 for it.
Right. Yeah.
So we're losing options.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, I tend not to listen to blithering idiots. Now, what do you think that flashing police car is all about?
I mean, isn't that the Manhattan Bridge over there?
Could be. So when you show me a blithering
It's just
idiot,
traffic stuff.
I try to avoid that person. And instead now the blithering idiots, you want to be in the Biden administration,
Yeah,
you're
you're
blithering
hired.
it, front of the line.
Yeah. So what's happening with Abe Blinken's plan to allow the UN to attack everything?
Brilliant. So brilliant. Why don't, to make everything more equal, why doesn't the administration release all the passwords of everybody who has a bank account?
Just give it to China.
Give it to China. Well, they probably already have it.
Yeah.
So now we're out of Chinatown. That's sort of at the base of, what would you call this? Is this Tribeca?
Soho, no? Oh, is it Tribeca?
Tribeca, Soho.
Yeah, right. Triangle below Canal, right. We would be in, but isn't that further west?
I always
Tribeca?
get confused about this. What is this?
Fiat Cafe. So it's probably a cafe that will look good but break down often.
You want an e-cigarette?
No.
No.
That's the thing. When they said, oh yeah, vaping. I think I discussed this already. When Quinn Michaels had his lung collapse, he was a smoker, and the doctor said, well, you can vape, but don't smoke. And it's like, oh.
I've heard people say that is true.
I don't know if it's
is.
true. I think it's the favored advice of doctors.
Of cigarette companies.
Well, I mean, in other words, if you go to the doctor and...
It's Nolita. That's what we are. There's Steve Bannon.
Right. If
Doesn't
you
it
go to
look
the
like
doctor and you weigh 800 pounds and you like to drink booze all the time, and he says, oh my God, you're going to have a heart attack. And you, what should I do, doc? And they'll say, well, you should lose 300 pounds, stop drinking, and quit smoking. They'll be like, well, but I mean, other than that. Okay, well, have all this surgery and take out half your whatever and take all these pills. So that's the thing. Really, if your lung collapses, probably you should go somewhere where there's not a lot of pollution and it's very relaxing, and be as healthy as you possibly can, breathing fresh air, and don't smoke anything.
Back on that 800-pound man in the doctor's office, you were there with Governor Christie?
No. Well, they just prescribed for him the esophagus to anus surgery. Same doctor as Al Sharpton.
Right. There's more garbage.
See, there's definitely no chance that guy's going to have an accident riding a bicycle on the sidewalk with a pizza yelling at somebody on the phone.
Right.
Not a risk to other people.
Also,
but if I say anything to him, that's a big fight.
You're an anti-bicyclist.
Right, he should wear a mask. He should go home is what that guy should do.
Yep. Now, I think we're near your favorite place.
Are we near Monty's?
Nope.
What favorite place?
You're going to see in a second. I don't want to give it away.
I know what it is. You're talking about, not my favorite place, Margaret Sanger's favorite place.
Right.
Freeze what else?
Right. So I just like to draw a contrast. I mean, is it the case that the people, I'm not going to express a view, I have a view, but is it the case that the people who support this organization are very much all in for the argument, my body, my choice? Is that right?
They like to say that.
No, I mean, that's not like to say that. That's like dogma. I'm not trying to be insulting to ugly women, but it's
dogs.
Or dogs. But that's basically the theory. When it comes,
what is this? Residence of Prince? What does that mean? They're talking about the Prince symbol who used to be formerly Prince?
is this not the place I was thinking about? Has it moved? Maybe it's moved.
Maybe we're just
wrong. We're
conferring.
close. We're close to it. It's further up this way. It's on Mulberry Street,
Right.
actually.
Anyway,
But
their body, their choice.
whereas when it comes to the question of what to do with this affliction that we're dealing with, you don't have a choice.
Right.
Can somebody
Your
try,
body, my choice.
Can somebody try to reconcile that for me? I mean, how is it?
No.
Yeah.
There are certain irreconcilable questions that they don't want to address. Like if what Joe Biden says is true, and taking this certain procedure that they want everybody to take, according to Joe Biden, will prevent something from happening to you, then anyone who has undergone that procedure really shouldn't care about what anybody else's status is with that certain thing, because according to Joe Biden, you're protected.
Well, they're caring about the other people. You see, but they're saying that because people who don't get vaccinated, and I'm aware of at least one person who not vaccinated for an excellent health reason, that the vaccine would be quite dangerous for that person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's so silly to prescribe
Something for everybody?
something for everybody, because doctors will tell you, I believe you know a doctor, I mean, doctors will tell you that patients, or all patients are slightly different. And you can have somebody who by all rights should not have, has no danger signs for X, Y, and Z, and
Somebody's
then you give...
going to drink a glass of milk and get sick.
Right, well, I would. I hate milk.
Right. So is milk safe?
Ban cows.
Right.
So
My cow, my
people get
choice.
cut in a knife fight. And all right, from now on, no, we're not going to serve anything that you need to cut with a knife. Everybody eats mush, just like Joe Biden.
Well, that was the other thing that he was trying to gaslight everybody about, is that crime is actually going down. It's just gun violence that's going up.
No.
What? That was somebody speaking French.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
that mean
Well,
19?
These neuf does.
That's what I thought I heard him say.
You might email guest Isabel.
Well,
It's to your left.
okay.
I didn't know they looked like that.
We may even have gone too far.
Has to be, yeah. That's all right.
Or unless it's, maybe it's straight up here.
Holy cow, Bagel Boss? Is this the place I think it is?
I don't know.
My Long Island peeps will know what I'm talking about. Charles, here's your Maybach SUV again. That looks ridiculous. Why would you? Maybe it's ready for a hip hop video.
Especially in that color scheme.
That's what I mean. The color. That's what I mean. The color looks nuts.
That's pretty much out.
Or is it coming in? Premium bagel franchise.
Maybe.
Today. Yeah, I do believe that is the bagel place that started pretty close to my hometown of Long Island.
Maybe the place we were thinking of is right there. If not, it could be one down.
How many of these Maybach SUVs could there be? We keep seeing this thing around. It also has a police thing in it.
I'm just like,
Are the cops driving a Maybach?
you're in the narcotics group.
Well, you know, Joe Biden made a lot of other comments about the police and how they need to hire psychiatrists and whatnot.
For him.
Well, I mean, look, I'm no expert, but I do watch a lot of videos about court and lawyers and crazy people, and there is a certain level of cooperation that you get from someone when they are shackled and in court that might put them in a more appropriate scenario to interface with a psychiatrist at that moment
Yeah.
than when they're on the subway trying to stab somebody.
Well, yeah, I mean, mental illness is among the most dangerous of diseases because many people who are mentally ill are also quite smart.
Right.
And so you can't,
Manipulative.
they can hide it. They can, as many scary movies play out in real life stories. Yeah, here's the building we were thinking of, Margaret Sanger Square.
Yeah.
So again,
They can file lawsuits, Charles.
yeah, I mean, forget for a second the park, although I don't personally park at the issue of the many lives that are snuffed out in the womb. Forget that for a second. We're talking close to 2 million a year in the US. Forget that. With regard to the other treatment we're talking about, how many people have taken that treatment and died? The patients, right? A large number now.
According to Joe Biden,
None.
it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Right, according to
99.5%. He says. Where did he get that statistic?
because he's an idiot. He's a total flaming idiot.
Charles, this is probably the new Cadillac Escalade. I think it is, with the Cadillac Super Cruise amazing feature.
Take one of those.
Do you guys have Super Cruise on this Escalade?
He's not going to talk to you.
Can't answer that.
Maybe it's before text very important. And then they get into it, and there's one yeah.
I guess there's probably some kind of a party in here, and these are the cars. What is?
It's too important to talk.
Well, they're very cool. Now those aren't gas guzzlers, right? Those cars?
Well,
They don't contribute to the global warming footprint at all.
I kind of like Cadillacs.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
I don't know. I like when they've done some really good,
I
innovative.
thought you were going to break into that song. I like big butts.
Don't like big. This would give me some indicator when it gets cut off. Interesting.
He didn't do it.
No, I don't think he did, but he was walking right in front of us, and then when I said that, he walked away, didn't he?
Yeah.
Big Daddy drink much Kool-Aid, somebody says. I don't know what that's about. Let's see if we're back.
Boy, this has gotten hotter and humid, and
it's a little humid, I think, is what's happening today. I think we're back. Oh yeah, there was on Friday, R. Kelly, they were reading documents of some of the insane things he's up to.
with little boys.
Really weird.
He is an excellent singer, but that doesn't
I
excuse
can't say
that.
I really know too much of his music even.
He's got a number of fantastic songs and an incredible voice, but there's no excuse for
He's a rapist.
Bidening people of any sex. You shouldn't be doing that. So this is NoHo that we're in. The most interesting community, supposedly, according to that banner.
Who said that?
The banner.
Of the thing trying to rent you an apartment here?
Right. And I love the name of all these places. Honey Brains.
I was looking at that one. It's like, I got a different name for Joe Biden, not as flattering.
Dummy. Lack of brains.
A lot of these ex
It's like
BMW.
it's like you get. I'm sure when you were a kid, you did these models. I'm talking about. Huh?
Revell
Yeah, exactly,
models.
exactly. And you get the aircraft carrier or some big thing,
My
and
brother was very good at those.
it's supposed to have this very important piece, and you buy it, and
It's
there's
not
no
there.
refund, and you get back to the house, and the essence of why you bought it is not there, and you're like, what? And you
Right.
go to your dad and say,
And I can't be bothered with this.
my experimenting with those type of models ended when the three boys, and the littlest boy at the time I think was he was probably 2, so he wasn't doing much.
Subservient.
I was 7, and we were looking for a place where we could put the model pieces and still see them. And we couldn't find.
Becomes a baby obstacle.
So I
course.
come up with this genius idea. So why don't we take this garment over here, and we'll put the pieces on the garment, and then we'll take this the glue you use for the models, right? And we'll put it on all the pieces first, which is a bad idea, and then we'll try to put the pieces together. And my father was then a Brooks Brothers addict, so he had many very nice Brooks Brothers sweaters, and
They
that's
all
what
had model glue on them
they
now.
all had model pieces and glue in the middle of them. That did not end well for me.
You see, all these. When I think about, do I ever want to have children? I don't know.
But it's the way a kid's mind works. You're not
Yeah.
thinking through, or doesn't work.
Don't understand consequences until they occur.
And me at that age, that mind would do a better job of sorting out America's problems than Joe Biden is currently doing. He's creating. It's like I think the real problem with America. Now, this is not going to work so well.
This guy's also getting ready to run us over. Yeah, he's he raises up. He's got the axle lifter.
Yeah. Why would you have such a scheme? What's the point of that?
Well, maybe he likes to take it on the track and the car gets lower and there's greater downforce and it goes faster.
Yeah, but if you have one little thing in front of you, you're screwed.
But it looks cool, Charles.
Okay.
It's like, why would you get one of those gold grills and get diamonds glued to your teeth?
Why not?
That's bad for
now,
your
Jason, you know you
mental
did
health.
that in NYU, and then you know, work for the ladies.
The ice up in the grill.
That's right. And then you said, you know, in Hollywood it just won't do. So you de-iced yourself.
No. When I was a kid, I had braces and they glued those things on. And
I did too.
Even as a young child, I thought it was incredibly idiotic to glue stuff to your teeth.
Well, tell me about it.
So that's
We'll
the
go
thing.
to Washington. Oh, actually, down
Even
this
when
one.
you're like Charles, there was a time when I had no credentials in the world of 3D. I'm certainly not an optical engineer. I'm not a physicist. And I would like make observations about the way certain 3D cameras would work, and I was like, this is a huge problem. And they're like, shut up, you don't know anything. And then I was like, well, okay, but if I took this optical element called a quarter wave retarder and I affected the polarization of incoming light such that it wouldn't be disrupted by this mirror, maybe that would improve the image quality. And guess what? It did. Became the international standard for 3D photography, and I developed it. And at some point, I was a non-expert with no credentials or nothing, or anything. And by challenging the what's the word?
Questioning
The status
authority.
quo, right?
Question authority. That used to be
Came with a breakthrough.
Well, that used to be, question authority used to be one of the hallmarks or taglines of the hippie movement.
It's one of the hallmarks of science, constantly questioning.
Not science now. You got to follow it.
Right.
You can't
Well,
question it.
I think we need to make a distinction between science and what is known as the science. They trust the science. Oh, wow.
Trust the garbage.
Well, but that's an admirable thing.
What?
Here's a guy walking around on his own.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, staying fit and healthy despite a bad injury. Maybe even a veteran.
Well, hats off to him. Let's leave him
Now, wait a
in
minute.
privacy. There's another.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I thought this was the thing we saw before, but we saw this on the way up here. People love these wraps on their cars.
Racks?
The wrap, that matte, that's like
I
some
don't get
material
that.
over the car. It protects the paint. You can take that off, and some people like the look of it.
What we're going to do is make the car look ugly, but it'll protect the paint underneath.
Yeah. Well, it's like my grandmother used to have plastic all over the furniture.
Oh, really?
That was Brooklyn, and she was Jewish. It was 1970s. You had to. It's mandated. Don't sit on the couch. What the hell do you have it for?
That's right. My parents took that a step further. They took this beautiful furniture that now we have out, and they said, this furniture is likely to be damaged. Let's put it all in storage. Good thing we have it. You know.
Right. And then eventually you get to a point where you're moving out, and it's like, what is all this crap?
Not crap.
Well, not your place. I mean, I'm just saying, anybody who has their stuff socked away in a house, you know, somebody values it, and when it comes time to move, you start really, haven't seen this thing in 25 years. Do I really care about it?
But depending on the person and depending on what's in the house, obviously, you'd be well advised when you make such a move to consult an expert, because stuff that you think is not valuable, particularly if you don't know exactly what it is, could be enormously valuable. Also,
Well,
it could be worthless as well.
We could get American Bootlickers or
Antique
the other-
Roadshow.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
That show is hilarious. I think they take some of the judges are also on Ancient Aliens.
Is that true?
No, but they have the same sort of wild outfits and hair.
I've seen
Maybe.
these shows, but I don't really know them that well.
You could swap them out.
Now, wait a minute. We got, dinged by the electrical whatever. Let's go into the south.
Sure. Where did we get dinged?
Right over here.
Okay.
So that may as well not do the exact same thing again. Here's more U-Hauls.
Well, it is that
Knowledge
time of
stuff.
year.
Let's see if we have anybody with questions or something in the chat here. Oh, Charles, we have 400 people viewing on YouTube.
Wow.
Thank you,
Hello,
everybody,
thank you.
for joining us.
I bet you are all much temperature-wise cooler than we are.
It is warm, and
How long have we been walking?
2 hours, an hour and 53 minutes. So for people who are watching us right now on YouTube, this is now Crowdsource the Truth 5. And it's also on the Sunday with Charles channel, so thanks for joining there. If you're not subscribed to either Crowdsource the Truth 5 or the Sunday with Charles YouTube channel, now is a great time to subscribe to one of those. You can also subscribe to rumble.com/user YouTube.com/CS The Truth. We're live streaming on Rumble. Today is the first ever live stream on Odyssey.
Well done.
So it's odyssey.com/@crowdsource the truth.
Wow.
So there's a lot of different things people have to look up, but pretty much if you search for Crowdsource the Truth on any of these, you'll find it. There's a cone head, Charles.
Where?
The dog.
Oh, that means a rabies shot or something, right?
I've probably had some surgery that they don't want them biting.
Somebody should do an image of Joe Biden in one of those things, because that's,
Yeah, prevent him from sniffing girls.
yeah. You want to go in
Put
here
it
or
on
further
his,
down?
Mitts as well.
In here? Or further
Yeah,
down?
well, we'll go in over here and avoid some of the radio interference, perhaps. I guess we might be close to wrapping up, Charles. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to touch on today?
Well, not particularly. I mean, what we could do is we could go directly through the park and make a left on Waverly.
The Smoosener makes the observation that you don't like Fauci.
Really, you think? I think we were one among the first, you and I, to just womp on Fauci. I mean, it's one thing, if you're going to present yourself as an objective person, you better not have financial conflicts of interest. And you better not, here's this idiotic approach of tilting back on the bike. You see this through the park?
Oh, yeah.
You're not supposed to do this at
No
all.
bikes at all. So where the hell are the cops?
And they just go out without looking against traffic. There's tons of them.
And there he just fell.
Just
so
don't,
of course
let's not,
they're going to hurt somebody.
let's not engage here.
Oh, it crashed into you guys?
Yep.
And
Here comes another.
that guy's driving your event to door, Charles.
And the airport.
Wait a minute, and the cops are right here.
Let's
You saw them crash into those people, right? The sign says no bicycles. Why did you just allow those guys to bicycle through here and crash into the tourists? Well done, gentlemen. Professional courtesy and respect. God, the NYPD. Gotta do you guys. It's
He
terrible.
was too busy going along.
Crashed right into people on the bicycle. Give the guy a ticket.
Here's the, they'll never show up for it. Here's the music critic in the black outfit.
He might not show up for it, but then when he shows up for a fight, he's got an outstanding ticket. It makes it bigger.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace, those guys standing there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing they do when I get assaulted. It's the same thing I do when I'm harassed and stalked. I think this is the lady who was disrupting
this?
the event yesterday.
But this is soap in here.
I guess it's to keep people out. Like Elvis.
Okay.
Oh, that's a completely naked person.
I am aware of that. And I think it might be the person, based on her physique, who was disrupting the event yesterday.
Completely naked, painted. Please, and there's another one. Please tell me that she's not gonna jump backwards in there. God almighty.
Those cops should be ashamed of themselves. What the hell are they doing there? Standing
Nothing.
around,
Here's some more naked
collecting
people.
a check. Those cops should be defunded. They're a waste of money
Look at
if
this.
they're not going to enforce the law.
They're all naked.
Well, it's obviously the same people who are getting painted up at the other thing.
Let's go this way.
This looks like a little kid.
I wonder how many of these people voted for Biden.
I would say all.
You've got to be kidding me. That's okay, but we got a pandemic,
Wow.
right? You got little kids playing in the park here. That's okay.
We got dicks flopping around, bikes crashing into people. Charles,
More over here.
I have to ask you a question. What is a handbasket, and why would you take that on your way to hell?
Not shy at all, that lady. She's like the Rolls Royce thing. Let's go this way. It's okay. Because you get to see
What's
No.
it like, Rolls Royce? It's like the Cadillac
the
of
flying
fat
lady.
chicks?
Flying lady.
Oh.
But we'll see if the homeless encampment is still here up here. And then I'll bid you adieu.
I'll tell you, the cops They stand there doing nothing.
Right. I'm sure they've been given instructions that this type of stuff.
Do nothing.
Let it go, and only if it rises to the level.
If somebody crashes into somebody on a bicycle in a place where there are posted signs that you're not allowed to ride bicycles, right next to the police, they're sending the clear signal that you just do whatever you want. Forget about the rules. Forget about the law. That is what's giving mischief makers.
Well, 4 of them there, right?
Right. That is what is giving mischief makers this sense that they can do whatever they want.
Make some mischief. Plan and idiots are going at high speed on those stupid.
Because you know what that does, Charles? So yesterday, that disgusting woman came over to me at the event, and I could detect a gynecological problem just from her standing near me. And I tried to tell her, get away from me. And when she refused, I said, I'm going to call the cops. And then she said, yeah, do it. You think they're going to do anything? So that means this woman knows the cops are not going to do anything. And that puts me in the position of thinking, okay, if I'm being threatened by someone and we both know the cops aren't going to do anything, do I now need to physically engage with this person? And what kind of risk does that put me at? And I bet you $1. That's when the cops would show up and start arresting people, and I'd be the one.
Right. Because privilege, man.
No, because this is the breakdown of order in society, and those police officers standing there should resign. I'm not going to defund them. They should either do their job or quit.
Right. Well, let's hope we have a change in attitude when this new mayor gets in.
De Blasio is for the bicyclists, is what Brian McNamara says.
I'm surprised he's not on the bicycle.
I am for bicyclists as well, but you bicycle in the bike lane, and they have, Charles, they've reshaped Manhattan to accommodate bicycles. I actually support that, but that means ride them where the cannabis yoga.
What could possibly go wrong with that?
How would that even work? I think you'd just be like,
in Washington Square Park next Saturday for an evening of breath work and meditation.
I think once you get the cannabis part done, the yoga consists of sitting on the couch.
And and some downward facing dog in the bed.
It's a very troubling situation that's going on here in New York City.
It is.
Garbage everywhere, maniacs in control, cops doing nothing. Those cops should be ashamed of themselves. If anybody here knows anybody in the NYPD, send them this video, show them those officers, let them know. This is a disgrace.
Yep.
They should quit.
This is that famous expensive place, Bobo.
Yeah, the maitre d' here is the biggest asshole in the world.
Biggest or second biggest?
He's one of the biggest.
Uh-huh.
It's a delicious restaurant, Mario Battaglia, and they have a great octopus dish where the octopus is tenderized with the enzymes from wine corks.
So they say.
Well,
probably in the back of the kitchen beating the shit out of the octopus with a mallet.
Octopus is difficult to prepare properly.
I'm saying what we've done is we put this in a puree of wine cork enzymes. It's a lot like the toilet bowl to me.
He's just hammering it. One of those chicken hammers.
So here, as this has become in this area, maybe it's changed, quite a number of homeless people. And
that's what I mean. The whole city is deteriorating, and those cops are just standing there waiting for their pensions.
Which are big.
Exactly. That's a big waste of taxpayer money.
Right.
And you know what? People should expect to be able to walk through the park without getting crashed into by maniacs on bicycles.
I thought there was just the one homeless person, but there were 2 there. And if we cross the street...
Observe more things out of business.
This used to be...
What if that lady right there got hit by a bicycle? It would end her life effectively.
I know.
She looked like she was 85. She's not going to be able to tolerate a bicycle hit.
But this used to be a drugstore. Starbucks, I think, is out. May not be out. That was a pet store.
Pets next to it now.
A vitamin store.
Yeah, GNC, Petland.
That Waverly restaurant used to be pretty good. It's, I think, gone downhill.
I think it's still open, though.
Yeah. But the other day I walked through here and there were like 6 or 7 homeless people right there. Now I guess they're gone. But this is in the village, this would be, back in the day, prime real estate.
Absolutely.
And so we had, I was surrounded by NYU and the rich students that go there. Here, this is a major block on 6th Avenue, right next to 8th Street, which is another major block. And
Grab and go out of business.
Staples is out of business there. In the middle, that big thing,
Yep.
big box. The one on the corner was Barnes and Noble. The one across was Juiceteria. Before that, it was like a hot dog shop.
Yeah, that for a long time that was papaya, whatever.
This used to be a newsstand.
Oh yeah.
And instead, you got Chipotle and a T-Mobile.
I don't really like Chipotle.
You like it?
Do not.
What's not to like? It's overpriced and crappy.
Well, it's just like McDonald's trying to
And
be something.
that guy lives there on the corner.
Oh yeah. Well, he's got a nice piece of furniture.
So, Jason, I propose maybe we wind it up.
Absolutely, Charles. I think it was a disturbing day, but a good video. I hope that people will become sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. It's becoming increasingly difficult to keep the show going on YouTube. Also, I'm almost done with a director's cut of yesterday's adventure up at Central Park, where we had the Health Freedom Rally, and there was a lot of overheating and a lot of radio disruptions. So there's a lot of material that was lost, including Tina Forte's speech. So I'm going to have that up later tonight for sponsors. Thanks for everybody who makes the show possible. Have a great weekend.